Coming up on today's wrestling news, MJF attacked for real after last night's AEW show.
We've got an update on Liv Morgan's injury, and it's not good.
A female wrestling legend was at NXT this week.
And we'll give you the real reason Jordynne Grace lost her entrance theme.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the news. So, of course, last night was Grand Slam Mexico for AEW Dynamite. A hot show. We'll be talking all about it later on today on the Dynamite Review podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. And, of course, Simon Miller will be here later on today with his ups and downs for the show. But a particularly notable segment or match or thing that happened on the show was Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Mystico, who had, if you haven't seen it, an incredible entrance at Arena Mexico last night.
Amazing.
Don't really say this sentence very often. MJF getting a lot of heat during his match. We know what the sort of thing that he does, but it's well worth going to check that out. Disrespecting the luchador culture is the way that Fightful Select have described it here. Shout out to Fightful Select for some brilliant reporting today.
Yeah. Big clap for Sean Ross Sapp.
Yes, indeed. And one of the most notable things post-match, it went to a disqualification, was the that's not it. The unmasking of Mystico.
Yes.
He ripped his mask off, he put it on, and he flipped off the crowd. And people there were not best pleased about all this.
It was real.
Thankfully, before anything worse could happen involving MJF and the rest of the Hurt Syndicate, Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey made the save for Mystico, and he got another mask on, so all was good, sort of.
Yeah.
But fans weren't best pleased. And now sources in AEW have claimed that a fan went after MJF at the hotel after the show. Now, thankfully, MJF is okay. He said he laughed the situation off. He was proud of it. It's good heat, obviously, here. And thankfully, there have been no other reports of any other incidents. AEW very happy with how the show turned out, of course. But MJF up to his old tricks again. He sure does know how to rile everybody up.
Yeah, you have to be careful not to be seen to be glorifying this. But I think the manner in which this has been reported, and as always, shout out to Fightful Select and Sean Ross Sapp and everybody, the sources involved in getting these stories. The manner in which this has been reported suggests that AEW, MJF, everybody involved are kind of happy for this to get out to sort of further add to the heat that they drew on the show itself. Well, again, we're not endorsing anybody attacking wrestlers ever.
Don't do that. Come on.
Everything's context, everything's tone, and I just think it's important to underscore that, because why we're kind of treating this with a bit more of a jovial nature is because it seems on the surface that MJF did too. He got the desired response, the heat was effective. He senses more business to be done with MJF. In CMLL or certainly back in Arena Mexico the next time AEW are there. This is set to carry over. He's done this sort of heavy heat stuff there once before. He does heavy heat stuff wherever he can. It's been part of his DNA in AEW since the very beginning and further back beyond that. So I think it couldn't happen to a bigger piece of garbage. We love you, MJF.
My best friend.
Indeed. And a fun story knowing that nobody got hurt.
Yes,
and the wrestlers and the company themselves were quite pleased that it generated this kind of anger. It feels more like that kind of traditional wrestling heat that's gone slightly over the line, but will sell more tickets the next time.
Yes, exactly.
It's money-making, business drawing, all that kind of good stuff.
I'm conflicted here because I've got to reiterate what you said there. Yeah, don't do this sort of thing. Don't be an idiot. Having said that, MJF is one of a very, probably you count on one hand the list of people who genuinely cut through and get the desired response, rather than I like this guy, so I'll go boo.
Yeah, it's not that fan spearing Seth Rollins.
No,
that time, for example, these things that you see that are these. Oh my God, that's a transgression there. This is a bit of that, but more of the, as you say, that real feeling.
Yeah, it's not love to hate, it's just hate.
Yeah, and there's a bit of that that's been lost. I think it's nice to still know of that going on. A great night. It's absolutely worth, go out of your way if you can, or if you care to watch MJF and Mystico. Entrances included. From AEW Grand Slam last night, a tremendous bit of business all the way around. Switching gears to the Fed and to one of the Fed's biggest and most important wrestlers of 2025, but we may be saying that with a full stop. Yeah. Because Liv Morgan was, of course, injured on Monday Night Raw, and the prognosis is not good. Per Fightful Select, she will likely miss, quote, a number of months, and 6 has been reported. Ooh. If you remember, the initial suggestion was around 4 months anyway, 16 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
So, like the bulk of 2025, Liv Morgan will miss physical competition. Now, the story added, the word was that Liv Morgan's injury will require surgery, and this is causing a significant creative reshuffling as she was involved in a number of other programs.
Yeah, I've read somewhere that they basically had to scrap the entire Evolution card.
Like Nikki Bella was rumoured to be backstage at Raw on Monday, presumably to contribute to the stuff that's going on with her and Liv. Liv was at the start of the show basically calling out Io Sky whilst holding a tag team title and working a story within the Judgment Day with Roxanne Perez, Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. It's a nightmare creatively for WWE, and indeed if you're a fan of Liv Morgan, of which there are many, us two included. Get well soon. I can't decide if the better way to do things is to bring her out CM Punk style and maximise her minutes as a character that is involved in all these stories, or as kind of we were talking about this morning, have her do the disappearing act, because do the math calc and trig, the absence could take you all the way to something like a Royal Rumble return, and there's no better time in the WWE calendar to be making your shock comeback.
Yeah,
I don't know what's better here.
It's devastating news, both creatively, like you say, and just for fans, because she's been one of the best wrestlers, not even just female wrestlers, one of the best wrestlers of 2025 in terms of work and
proper all-rounder
storylines, everything like that. There was a tiny bit of me that watched what happened on Raw on Monday and thought, maybe it'll be all right. Maybe she's just like jarred her shoulder a little bit, and maybe this dislocation's all blown out of proportion. Sometimes these things, sometimes they look worse, and then it's actually not as bad. And sometimes when they're as innocuous as what was with Liv, which was just basically a drop toe hold she got hit with, effectively, means she's out for flipping 6 months, which is just rubbish. Yeah, like you say, devastating for her, devastating for the fans, devastating for the Judgment Day, devastating for Dirty Dom, of course. Good news for Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez, I suppose. We talked yesterday about Roxanne Perez potentially stepping in and fulfilling that role with the tag match with the Bellas and stuff going forward, but that's less of a concern. But yeah, it is one of those things as a wrestling fan when you go, oh God, that's rubbish. Wait a second, 6 months? That's Royal Rumble season. I think she is almost nailed on to win the Royal Rumble and wrestle a huge match at WrestleMania now off the back of this.
Feels that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
If there wasn't already a babyface turn in the works, always with these sorts of things, unless your name's Charlotte Flair, if you go away for a long period and you come back, people are like, yes, thank goodness you're back, and she will have plenty to get her teeth into. Maybe Roxanne Perez is world champion by the time we get to that point. Or we were discussing perhaps flipping the roles and having Rhea versus Liv, but the other way around.
So much of that is rooted in real interest, isn't it? Remember the Liv Morgan revenge tour that was like, actually, you did that to me first. So just however it shakes out, and it could be something as early as her being back on television, arm in a sling, the big CM Punk brace, whatever. As much as as soon as this coming Raw. But either way, get well soon. Speedy recovery to Liv Morgan from all of us at WhatCulture.
That's absolutely rubbish news, but like you said, could be. No, I'm not going to say a blessing in disguise, because injuries are never a blessing, but could all work out in the end, and like I say, have a huge match at next year's WrestleMania. Actually, speaking of which, I've got a question for you.
What's that?
Are you ready to double down?
Why?
Well, because we are now heading over to our WrestleMania correspondent, Michael Hamflett, with a bit of an update on the highly anticipated and not at all annoying decision to move WrestleMania 42 to Las Vegas. And, over to Michael. Michael, what can you tell us about WrestleMania 42?
I had a dream, I had a vision, I grabbed my little phone and start clicking. It's 10 months away.
What? You said that yesterday, though.
Well, all right, it's 9 months and 30-ish days away.
Well, night 2 is 10 months away.
Night 2 is 10 months away.
Yes.
Speaking of yesterday's news, by the way, we are still welcoming your suggestions or memories or comments on cartoon/Disney/animated characters that you were sexually attracted to, non-human only. Don't get weird. Like, I don't want human animated characters. We only want non-human characters that you were sexually attracted to. Either now, maybe when you were younger, maybe it was a personal awakening.
Then, now, forever.
Together. Share your comments with us. We had a lot of shout-outs for Lola Bunny from Space Jam. There was one I liked that was Jerry from Tom and Jerry when he would do the double bicep pose. A little Jack Mouse. Stuart Little, I don't know if there's like an animated version or they were just on about the shoot mouse in the film.
Mimi, one of the friends of the podcast, was talking about a little bit of a thing about the clock in Beauty and the Beast.
The clock in Beauty and the Beast. This is what we're talking about, right? Just not people.
Don't make it weird.
Don't be weird, guys. Come on. Yes, those that you were sexually attracted to, we are still welcoming those comments. As soon as possible, please, if you can get them in. We would be grateful.
Switching gears again now, let's talk about the female wrestling legend, and often that word is overused, but I think it's absolutely appropriate here, that was backstage at NXT this week, because again, Fightful Select coming through with another great report here, that Gail Kim was backstage at NXT. This is also not the first time she's been there as of late. She is not officially with the company according to WWE sources, but 2 and 2 sometimes doesn't equal potato, it makes 4, because obviously she was fired, released, however you want to describe it, by TNA Wrestling earlier on this year, and immediately everyone obviously said, well, both WWE and AEW are going to be fighting for her services. A brilliant wrestler.
Yeah.
An amazing mind as well to have, especially with the way those two women's divisions are developing at the moment. WWE has been interested in bringing her on board since she became available. The company has kept her presence at shows very quiet, though, understandably. But we were just talking in the office earlier about the dream team of the Dead Man and Gail Kim now being involved in WWE Creative. I love it.
Quite something. Not the lineup you would have picked, but then never say never in his business. Yeah, Gail Kim, I mean, who doesn't love Gail Kim? A legacy like few others, truthfully. And ironically, a lot of that has been held outside of WWE, because at various points she has been a vocal defender of other companies, the likes of TNA, and places to work outside of WWE.
A game changer in women's wrestling, wasn't she?
100%, yeah.
Way ahead of her time.
Kind of undervalued and underused at various points in her 2 runs as a wrestler with WWE, but really a trailblazer in the Knockouts division in TNA, which itself was a kind of trailblazing division in North America in the mid-2000s. And yeah, you mentioned about her having a particular wrestling mind. I would say not only the stuff that she can impart onto the talent, but the people that she's worked with previously, one of which we're going to get onto in a minute, that she kind of already has a pre-existing relationship with and a good understanding of how to get the best out of people. Like, this TNA relationship, right as Gail Kim has found herself on the outs with TNA, might actually be the way for...
She was at the Newcastle show I went to.
Well, it's not that long, right, since she was really deeply embedded...
She was special guest referee?
Yeah, well, she was hugely... She was kind of at that top table in TNA. And now that WWE are working with TNA, there's going to be plenty of people that she's had previous experience with, men and women, that she can help. And it doesn't look like this business relationship's going away anytime soon.
No.
WWE, for a lot of reasons, would be smart to try and get her through the door, and maybe the TNA relationship and all the various old friends that she's going to be reacquainted with have become a part of that. We will see how this play out, I guess. But yeah, super valuable. Whoever gets, I remember when she left TNA and it was all a bit acrimonious. And I think that day, I can't remember, if we were talking about on one of these videos, it was just well, this should be an arms race. Yeah. Somebody should be getting Gail Kim, yesterday. What a vital component she could be for the locker room and for the backstage setting, maybe even the occasional match. I don't know. I don't want to take bumps if you don't want to. But
don't tempt me.
I don't know if that's even a thing. But yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Awesome stuff.
We'll see. We'll track this, see if this goes any further.
Love Gail Kim.
Something less celebratory,
but a former TNA person.
Yes. From this week's NXT.
Oh.
Yeah, now you're interested. Ears prick up. Ears pricked up and then pricked all the way back down. When Jordynne Grace entered in the main event and didn't come out to the theme that she's become familiar with now, the kind of Scott Steiner-esque sirens, the one that she's carried over from TNA. It's greeted her in all these Royal Rumble appearances, and so far in her entire NXT run, always gets a big response. Well, it was gown.
They've Def Rebelled her.
They Def Rebelled her all the way. Even she tweeted about it saying, I know what you're all saying, but time to vibe with the new one. Everybody just get on with it.
Shut up and move on.
I'm trying. Well, it's 4 from 4 for Fightful Select today, because we've got a bit of information from them to aggregate to you, as is our want. The NXT crowd were chanting "Fire Def Rebel," and so was the rest of wrestling Twitter as she entered. She joked online that maybe suspend your disbelief and get on with it. I'm doing my best. Fightful were told, quote, especially in recent months, WWE has been adamant again about owning the themes that are used. A change was necessitated due to the sirens at the start of it because of Bron Breakker's theme.
That makes somewhat sense.
That's a very WWE thing, especially because he's got the family link to Scott Steiner, who is most associated with sirens in WWE and wrestling lore in general. But the theme music that Jordynne Grace had used in TNA belongs to her, and she gets the rights to that. So if she ever leaves WWE, she can bring that with her again.
Okay.
And they wanted their own one, as is kind of their traditional one for this sort of thing. So it's not just a Def Rebel getting Def Rebel's way, it's a WWE liking business done that way and liking everything to be theirs and owned. I get it. If they had a better in-house studio, I wouldn't even protest it. You know, what is interesting from this week, while we're talking music, is that Asuka returned to her CFO's theme
telling me there's a chance?
Rather than the warped one that she got after there seemed to be some sort of, like Sasha lost her, Charlotte. Like they tweaked them, didn't they? And Asuka got her old one back. Sami Zayn has his original CFO's one. I don't know, there must be some way in which we can avoid using Def Rebel.
It's like you say, it's an unfortunate reality within WWE right now that you have this, that there are very, very few Def Rebel themes that people are like. I think it was news the other day when it's like, Seth Rollins is getting a new theme, but don't worry, it's not Def Rebel, it's like a proper song.
Yeah.
I do understand that point about the Scott Steiner Bron Breakker thing. I mean, it is a bit like, no one would think that if, who can I put out there?
Ariana Grace is stood in the ring waiting for an
JC
opponent.
Jane's like, who's going to be my next opponent? If sirens went off, people are like, Bron Breakker's going to spear someone.
No, they would not, yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's their justification for it. But it must be, surely, like, with the way things are going, it's got to be one of the big priorities within WWE of like, it's one of those things that's almost so big. Do you ever have those like list of jobs? Like maybe you're on a weekend, you're like, right, I need to do this, and this weekend. And you do the sort of like, empty the dishwasher, no problem.
I'm flying through this
rather
list.
than like clear out the entire loft. It's almost so big now for WWE that they need like a dedicated team for this, because I could probably sit here and easily list 10 people who got good themes right now that I wouldn't want changing. Lola Vice being one of them, by the way.
Roman Reigns.
It made it even worse because she was facing Lola Vice, and I was like vibing around and watching it.
I've seen do this art show.
If you want to come and get it.
People in the audience looked haunted by what they saw.
It was beautiful. Having said that, look, either whether we're somehow working a way to get back to some of the CFO's themes, getting anyone other than Def Rebel to do them, get Fred Durst to do it.
Or Fred Burst.
Fred Starburst, that's what I like to call him.
Who would you pick? Let us know in the comments below.
Just pay to get good music. Is that really a hot take?
Yes. Yes, it is. I'll tell you why. I get this. I actually get the not using licensed themes. When you watch old shows, and WWE now understand the value of replaying old shows, and the license theme is lifted in place of something else, absolute trash, hot trash garbage. No, like hire somebody that does a good job.
Yeah.
Hire Jim Johnson that does a good job. Hire like in-house musicians that make themes for you. And Jimmy Hart, like they were all lifted. They will be lifted off real songs. They were all at it. It's fine. You can take that Lighthouse Family song if you want. But like they were the worst.
Someone coming out to the Lighthouse Family.
They were the worst. Like I've been watching Top of the Pops for years now. But like the Lighthouse Family have just had their hot run on top. Like, all their songs are so bad. We are gonna be forever, you and me. Just that, like, one flat tone all the way through. It's like Marks and Spencer's pop. Like, Lighthouse Family very much like the Def Rebel of 1997 pop music. Like, Top of the Pops is like, really, like, here we go, like, Britpop's done and dusted, but don't worry because pop's better than ever. You and me forever. I know.
Vibing to it now.
You want to get tickets, don't you?
I don't think I'd quite like it if a wrestler came out, to be very honest.
You could be lifted. Do you like Lighthouse Family? Is that anything? But yeah, who would you pick as your sort of dream theme for your dream wrestler? Which band would it be? All that kind of stuff. I don't need it. I don't need bands doing it. I need somebody other than I need somebody with like a finger on the pulse to what an entrance theme
Someone who doesn't just go word/sentence, because the new Jordan Grace one, doesn't it? It's like, it's not over until I win or whatever, and it's like, and then it's just generic. Like I don't think I could pick it out. Like if we did a lineup of like songs, I'd be like, who's this song?
Yeah.
After the first sting.
Oh no.
Half of them, I don't know.
That's a Royal Rumble problem, isn't it? Every year.
Yeah, exactly. You've got time. Yeah. You've got 7 months.
It's old
Fix
news.
it.
It's old news. I'm sorry, but it's one that everyone is.
They say old news is good news.
That's which is why we've put one in this box right here.
We're not putting old news. We've put something great in
Some
here, though.
Class list.
Yeah. Any list that comes out of a box is instantly over. So click it.
Click that.
Bye.
Bye.